Mad Speaking, and today we're going to discuss a little bit about ethics, morality. Now, I've been tormented by this subject forever, and the thing that I've noticed is there is no possibility of agreement. There simply is not. This does not relate to the fact that whether it is objective or subjective, and I would like to get away from those labels, if possible, whenever possible, during this little exchange. We should think outside the box and try to come up with basic facts. Basic fact is that ethics are man-made. Okay? They're human creations. If you think of subjective material as creations, as opposed to objective facts which are said to be discovered, then even then you can't really know in a meaningful way whether ethics is subjective or not, because some people will argue that ethics is a discovery, and some people would argue that it is a creation. Some people would argue, maybe like myself, that it is both. Because can't you, for instance, discover creations? Of course you can. Just imagine the following situation. Ideas, concepts, live in the mind. This does not mean, of course, that they're not physical reality as well. That's mostly why I've always rejected that dichotomy between physical reality and subjective reality or mental reality. This really doesn't make much sense, and it's not very useful to me, because what is the mind? Well, the mind can be reduced to the brain, and the brain is physical. So physical reality versus mental reality makes no sense to me. It's all physical reality as far as I know. So what I mean is that when every man in the world loses an idea, this meaning when all the men that knew that idea, that held that idea, die, only the fact that the idea is written down on paper is the guarantee that the idea can be living outside of the human mind. Okay? In a sense, written records, written word is like an appendix of the human mind. It's a very beautiful analogy or metaphor. And what I'm saying about discovering creations is, just imagine that those written records of those forgotten ideas are then discovered by people from 1,000 years later down the road.
There you have it. Creation of discovery.
And so I was miserably interrupted while I was trying to put out an example of how we can discover creations. I was saying how the human mind is a store and it's a physical disposition and arrangement of particles, essentially, that creates what we call ideas, concepts, and essentially our minds. Okay, maybe we can one day derive a mind from matter of the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't know. What I do know is that the stuff that constitutes our brains is no different from the stuff that constitutes, well, stuff that are out there in the world. So our minds are parts of the world, are just as much physical, and ideas are just arrangements of physical material, be it neurochemicals, be it electrical charges. There's no way around it. You can try to deceive yourself, to elude yourself into thinking mysterious forces work on you, stuff like that. Essentially, you'll come to a point where you'll just accept reality. Okay. Now, I was saying how much more significant the distinction between external and interior reality is, rather than real world versus mind, stuff like that, as if the mind isn't real. The mind can be, changing and stuff like that, but heck, so does the real world. My physical body, this, even plastic, it's biodegradable after like 500 years or so. So matter changes all the time. And it's not just because our minds are much faster at changing, our ideas are much more inconstant, that we're going to say that the mind is to be somehow a less objective or less real form of existence. Because it's not. Just a component of the whole. Now, where was I going? I was talking about morality, ethics. And it's kind of eradicated, to me, it's eradicated in a basic choice. Okay? I'm not going to associate myself with objectivism or any other philosophy, even if what I'm talking about may sound a lot like a certain philosophy. Okay? I'm trying to convey a correct picture, regardless of the label you use to describe it. And thing is, morality is a human creation or discovery. It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make any difference. I was talking how you can discover creations, and I was talking about ideas. Okay, ideas just live because there is a mind as a support, for them to be grounded on. Have you ever thought about it like that? Yeah. Once the matter in the brain erodes, so do ideas. Ideas, concepts only exist insofar as they are impressed in the mind, the minds of men. When the last man that knows about a certain idea, a certain concept, dies, if there was no written word, the idea would die with it. So there is no such thing as an independent of the mind idea, unless it is recorded on paper. So that's the particular of ideas. It's pretty amazing to me, the objectivity of ideas. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Try to separate integral parts of reality. That tree outside my house is as much real as what I'm thinking right now. Because I am really thinking this. You may not have access to it, but you may not have access to it right now with the current technology. Because if ideas are really, and I'm pretty sure they are, just arrangement of physical matter, there is pretty much the possibility of technology that can be connected and, well, get to know what you're thinking by reading the arrangements of the matter inside your brain. So telepathy can be pretty much real.